What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we have some very interesting news as undefeated, unified WBC, IBF, welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Errol Spence Jr., who is widely considered by many to be top 3 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, with a record of 27 wins, no losses, no draws, 21 big wins by way of knockout, 31 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. With that said, he's a southpaw boxer, and he will be making his ring return possibly April 16th in Dallas, Texas, against Cuban star boxer, who is the WBA welterweight super champion in YORDENIS Ugas. 27 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, 12 wins by way of knockout, 35 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 69-inch arm reach. Okay, this is a unification bout, so it looks like that's going to take place. Unification bout. Errol Spence's IBF and WBC title will be on the line, and YORDENIS Ugas' WBA title will be on the line. With that said, Errol Spence was supposed to make a ring return August 21st against legendary 8th Division World Champion, iconic Filipino superstar boxer Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao, but Errol Spence, he suffered a broken detached retina, which saw him have to be removed from the fight, which saw YORDENIS Ugas replace Errol Spence, and YORDENIS Ugas comfortably beating Manny Pacquiao via unanimous decision. Now, we all know prior to that, Errol Spence, he had suffered a horrific car accident just 12 days after unifying the titles against two-time welterweight world champion superstar boxer Showtime Shawn Porter. That was in September of 2019. In October 10th, he suffered that horrific car accident, which saw Errol Spence have to be out the ring for 14 months. He came back December 5th of 2020, and he took on and defeated 2-division world champion Puerto Rican superstar boxer Danny Swift Garcia via unanimous decision. With that said, Errol Spence has had 1 fight in a total of over 2.5 years. Okay, the last time we saw him in the ring was December 5th of 2020 when he took on and defeated Danny Garcia. And prior to that, we hadn't seen him in the ring for 14 months. So you factor that in, by the time he makes his ring return, April, against YORDENIS Ugas, is going to be 2.5 years since, and Errol Spence only had 1 fight in 2.5 years. So everybody questions Errol Spence's health, Errol Spence's motivation moving forward. So there's a lot of questions surrounding Errol Spence and how is Errol Spence going to come back. So Errol Spence's sparring partner, ahead of his showdown with YORDENIS Ugas, he states some very interesting things. He stated that initially Errol Spence had his speed. He stated that he's been sparring and training with Errol Spence since Errol Spence was 16. So he says that Errol Spence has been showing he was much faster than he's ever been. He stated that he was quicker. You know, he had his ring IQ gotten better. He could tell that he's gotten more committed to the sport of boxing. But he said that Errol Spence's power wasn't there anymore. And now he says that Errol Spence, now when he had his last sparring session, nearly knocked him out. He said he had never felt power like that, and he nearly knocked him out. Okay, this is Marvelous Jarvis Jones Jr. This is what he had to say regarding Errol Spence. He stated that Errol Spence's power is back plus some. He said it's at 97%. He said it took him 2 rounds to recover from the power and the punch that Errol Spence landed on him that nearly knocked him out. And he said, he joked and said, well, I guess I won't be back to your gym anytime soon. That's what Marvelous Jones had to say about this fight, with his sparring session with Errol Spence. So he says that anybody questioning Marvelous Jarvis, he said, and anybody questioning Errol Spence's power and his physical abilities, in his eye, he said his eye is not bothering him. He says it doesn't seem like it's being a factor. And he said that his power is completely back, plus some. So he said he never felt no power like that. And he's been sparring Errol Spence for quite some time. And essentially, YORDENIS Ugas could be in big trouble. YORDENIS Ugas is not a big puncher. Obviously, YORDENIS Ugas has 31 total fights in his career. And YORDENIS Ugas only has 12 knockouts. So it's abundantly clear YORDENIS Ugas in his career, he doesn't have much power, okay? and he's 35 years of age, and he doesn't have very long arms. So Errol Spence is going to have a half-inch height advantage over Yordenis Ugas, but he's going to have a 3-inch arm reach advantage over Yordenis Ugas, and he's a southpaw. Yordenis Ugas is an orthodox fighter. So Yordenis Ugas is technically sound, very skilled fighter, but he just doesn't bring a lot of power to the ring. And if you can't get Errol Spence's attention and keep him honest, then you could be in a lot of trouble. So you see what Marvelous JARVIS is saying that, Errol Spence, his power is back plus some. Okay, so he's stating that, he's never felt power like that. That was the hardest punch he ever taken, and that it took him 2 rounds to recover from that punch.
Yo, what up, man? It's Marvelous JARVIS. I'm just giving y'all my update on Errol Spence Jr., WBC champion of the world, IBF champion of the world. Just a little update. His eye doesn't seem to be a problem at all. I think he recovered fully 100%. A few weeks back, or whatever, for a month ago maybe, his speed was a little better than it had ever been since I've been sparring him. I've been sparring him since he was like 16, 17. His speed was faster than at any point of his time of his career. His speed has gotten, and his ring IQ has went up, but I felt like his power wasn't all the way there. Well, today we got a chance to get in the ring. His power was stronger than it had ever been. His power was there.
So the sound cut off, but he finished by saying this, quote, "All of EJ Power is back. I sparred him a few months ago. I was like, he's faster, but his power is at least overall at 70%. He said, but this dude's power was at 97% today. At Errol Spence, in all my years of boxing, I've never been hurt by a punch like that. It took me 2 rounds to recover. Man, I got a chin on me." And then he said, "Yep, Errol Spence Jr., I won't be back, coming back to your camp for a minute now." And then he put the laughing emojis, okay? So he said that I've never been hit and hurt by a punch like that. It took me 2 rounds to recover. Man, it's safe to say I won't be back to Errol Spence's gym or camp anytime soon. So you heard it from his sparring partner, who stated that he's been sparring and training with Errol Spence, for a long time. Errol Spence is going on 32. So you got to say 16, when he was 16 years of age, you're saying he's been training and sparring with Errol Spence for 15 years. Okay. So for 15 years, he's been sparring and training with Errol Spence. And he's saying that he's never felt any power, Errol Spence's power, at that level before. Okay, so there's many people. You have 4-division world champion, Mexican superstar boxer, who fought Errol Spence, his rival, Mikey Garcia, saying that he believes Errol Spence's eye could be an issue. You have former 2-division world champion, superstar boxer, who's now colorful boxing pundit and analyst for ESPN and Top Rank, Timothy Bradley. He's saying that Errol Spence's eye is going to be a serious issue moving forward, and the injuries, the effect of the car accident, lingering effects, that's going to be an issue. And you have many people questioning Errol Spence's health, and you hear Marvelous JARVIS. He's saying that it took a while. So he said a month ago, Errol Spence's power wasn't all the way back. Now we know Errol Spence is with a new fitness and strength and condition team. He's completely dedicated, reacclimating himself to dedicating himself to the sport of boxing. And Errol Spence is, hiring a nutritionist. We know before Errol Spence, he stated he was his own nutritionist. He would cook his own food. He did it all himself. Well, now he's hiring a team. He was with strength and condition coach Blue Ray Fitness, but now he's brought in a completely new revamped team, preparing for this fight with Yordenis Ugas and fights coming forward. Errol Spence, he stated that the biggest fight in the sport of boxing is between himself and undefeated 3-division world champion superstar boxer, who's widely considered the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and Terrence Boyd Crawford, who has 38 wins, no losses, no draws, 29 wins by way of knockout. He's 34 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm. So Errol Spence said that he knows he's got to go through Terrence Crawford. The road to undisputed is starting now, you know, with this fight with URDENIS Ugas. He's rededicated himself to the sport of boxing. And according to Marvelous Jarvis, you know, the improvements are starting to pay off. He stated that he's never been hit by Errol Spence or anybody and hurt by a punch in his life in the sport of boxing like that. He was nearly knocked out and took him 2 rounds to recover. So that speaks volumes. And it seems like he's being honest, because he stated that Errol Spence was 70% of himself and his power wasn't there. He said he got faster and his ring IQ improved, but his power wasn't there. And he said now his power is at 97%. And he said that, you know, he's very impressed with Errol Spence, and URDENIS Ugas is in trouble. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button, drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Raw. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Wow.